Gemma, and this is a chat with Gemma. So last time I talked about divorced dads, and I thought today I would talk about divorced mothers because it's only fair. But it is interesting that the only divorced mothers that I know of in my life are very efficient people. So you kind of would never feel sorry for them or think of them as being tired or not coping. In both cases, they've worked. I think, certainly in one case, part-time. But you think about it, when a woman is married, there's always, obviously, the husband, the father there to grab a child, do this, do that. Can you get married to a music lesson, or, Johnny to his basketball game, or whatever it is. And so you share a lot of things, and just even psychologically you share things. So you're kind of carrying the family together. So when a woman is divorced and she's now, for whatever reason, carrying the family because her husband's not really involved in the family anymore, then I think that's it must be a very tiring thing, but they don't give the impression of being tired. So do you, if you're in that situation, miss out on help than maybe you deserve because of that look of coping? And sometimes, I don't want to make out that all of these divorced husbands are like that, because often you hear about the father who's absolutely well and truly, although the parents have divorced, he's absolutely involved in the children's lives, and he's maybe even his parents are helping out with various tasks, driving a kid here or babysitting and things like that. But I'm really talking about the sort of woman who I know, who in their case, and I never got the real story, the husband just wasn't around for whatever reason. So I'd only be speculating if I tried to say what I think the reason is. So in those situations, I think they probably both had parents that weren't really there to help them either. So, of course, a lot of divorced mothers do have, like, a father who turns up and does a load of dishes, or a mother comes and does ironing now and again and drives the kids here and there and things like that. But many of these women don't even have that. They have nobody. Oftentimes they're from a divorced parentage themselves, and the same cycle's happening again, where perhaps their mother's worn out and the father was never around and quickly found another woman or whatever he did, and has never been involved in his children's lives. Now they're grown up, and they mentally and physically have to carry everything. So that is a lot. You've got to be well, you've got to be energetic, you've got to remember things. You've got to get everybody lined up and regimented and out that door, off to school, and get yourself off to work, get the housework done. And often the poor kids, particularly the oldest one, is probably doing more work than they would otherwise have had to do, and having to be sort of switched on all the time and ready to go and knowing what's happening and all of that. And other kids get to be a bit more lazy than that and sit around and play and do things that are a bit more purposeless than that. So it's hard, and I think that there's another aspect to it, in that women like that do get kind of judged, because us people looking from the outside in, we can kind of think, well, I'm sorry if I offend anybody here, we sort of think, well, she married this guy and then she had a baby with him, and then another baby with him, and he was the wrong guy, but she still had another one and another one, and now they've got 4 or 5 children by the wrong guy. And again, I don't know what happened, but sometimes I'm sure these women come in for a little bit of kind of judgment where people don't offer help because they think, oh, well, she made her bed, now she's got to lie in it, or the air of efficiency gives the impression that she doesn't need help or want help. And I think a lot of women in this situation maybe do self-punish and kind of have that attitude about themselves. So, oh, okay, I married the wrong guy. And so they do sort of think they've got to be really on the ball and just the perfect mother because they made a mistake. But do you really need to punish yourself forever and ever and ever? There's nothing wrong with sort of asking for help and even being quite specific about the sort of help you need, because oftentimes people can, if they do even do that much, they can offer help or give help that's not helpful. So, I mean, I've been helped myself sometimes in a way that I've found really annoying. Like, if you know what I mean, people can just think, oh, I'd like to do this for her. And you'll think, I didn't want that done. And it's actually quite annoying now. And so if you're wanting to help a divorced mother, I think I would ask first what she needs you to do. And if you're the divorced mother, be quite specific about, I wouldn't mind a bit of help in this way or that way. And it's probably some little thing that you think, oh, I'm troubling this person, but actually they maybe really like taking little Teresa to her flute lessons and enjoy sitting there listening to her play the flute and then take her back home again and chatter away to her on the way. And you're thinking, oh, I'm troubling this person, but maybe they'd enjoy doing that. So don't feel like you've got to be, oh, I've got to be this self-punishing person. Everybody needs help now and again. I live on my own, I'm by myself, and don't have a bunch of kids to look after, but every now and then I need a bit of help with something. Everybody does. That's normal. And I think if you feel like maybe other people are thinking these things about you, you can just sort of put that wall up that you think, okay, I've heard people whisper about me, or some kind neighbourhood has told me what so-and-so has said about me, or they think I'm doing this wrong or whatever. You do need to put that wall up between yourself and other people's opinions. Certainly, I think it's probably, I hope it's less fashionable now, but certainly when I was growing up, my mother's generation had expressed lots of opinions about all the other women and how they were doing things, and kind of were very judgmental and had quite strong opinions. And oftentimes mothers judged their daughters when they got married. Their own mothers judged the way they did things. And so there's always been all these opinions and criticisms going on. And for the most part, women don't just say things to each other's faces, but somehow or other the message would often just slip through and get back to you. So it's a thing. And I think because it's been passed down through the generations, it hasn't yet gone. So there is that thing of people judging you perhaps and thinking maybe it was your fault that the divorce happened or whatever. Maybe it was your fault. But do you have to be punished for all of eternity because of that? Don't think that way. I would say you need to, when you step on your own property, you're in your garden, in your house, just close that door, close the windows, as it were, to other people's opinions about you and the way you do things. You've got to make up your own mind. Now, mind you, sometimes people can tell you something that's quite helpful. Don't be so defensive that you can't take really good advice. Like somebody might say, darling, honestly, you don't need to iron your sheets. Don't iron your sheets. That's good advice, okay? Things like that can be good, but by and large, people just, that's us human beings, isn't it? We love to pick about other people because it makes us look good, makes us feel better about ourselves. So it's not to any good purpose. Just close your door, close your windows, and once you're in your own property, you're in charge. Make up your own mind. Don't be thinking, should I be doing this, should I be doing that. Make your own mind up. What do you really think should be done? And try to think well of yourself if you can. Also, if you can get some rest now and again, I think that's a really good idea. You might not be able to afford. I don't know what your situation is, of course. Some people have money, some people don't. Holidays might now be out the window, or you've got to stay in a tent and you don't really fancy doing that with 4 or 5 children. Well, again, it's worth putting out the message that you need a little bit of assistance in that. You might want to go halvesies or share a house with a couple of other families. Sometimes there are big houses that are too expensive to rent on your own, but 3 families can go in and it becomes more affordable. And also it's good to have conversations with other parents while you're away too, and get some things off your chest and lean on each other and watch each other's children play and kind of mind each other's children together, so some of that weight of responsibility is shared, and it can carry you, even if you go away for 1 week a year, which is all I do, it can carry you for the whole year sometimes, or certainly for a couple of months afterwards. So it's well worth getting away, even if you can only do it for 1 week a year. Anyway, you can sort that out yourself, I'm sure, but just a suggestion of mine. But I wish you the best, and I hope you're not lonely, and God bless. Bye for now.